But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Which is the first commandment of all?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might, and with all thy strength. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
Master, thou hast said the truth. There is one God, and none other but He. And to love Him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all the whole burnt offerings and sacrifices.
Thou art not far from the kingdom of God.
Yo. People have turned up. Yeah, I just thought I'd do the. I'm not muted, am I? Right. I just thought I'd quickly do the FTFE. I know it's already half an hour in, but the FTFE versus Alex Stein on Moonhawks things. So here we are, guys. I might as well just get it started now because it's on. Whoever comes in, comes in. I think Flats is covering it tonight. So here we go. Let's do it. Where shall I do it? There. Right. Okay. Let's do it, guys. I just seen it on now and I just thought, oh, why not? We'll go live. Wait, here we go. So let's do it.
We went to our only natural satellite. It doesn't like he was
so
Nazi,
low.
Okay. I agree. That's disgusting. Everything the Nazis stand for, it repulses me. I hold the position, see a Nazi, punch a Nazi. I do not like Nazis. It doesn't change the fact that the technological advances that came from the V2 rocket exist. So yes, I agree.
I hate when the line doesn't go away.
It's a horrible thing. I agree with you. Nazis were evil. I agree with you. Does not change reality.
Right.
Well, I think it does because
hey guys,
look at Nazis. Do Nazis lie? Did Nazis lie, Craig?
I'm sure Nazis lie. Yes. I'm sure when Nazis were fighting the war, they told many mistruths, as did the American military, as did the British military.
So you admit that the American military lies?
That's how you do warfare. You lie to everybody else.
See, right now we're making headway. So he admits that the government will lie.
Well, let me explain what I'm talking about specifically.
Do you agree real quick that NASA is a military wing of the American government?
No, it's not. Let me explain to you.
Yeah, this is the debate. It's on now, guys. It's but I'm about half an hour, 40 minutes late for it. I just woke up now because I did a 10-hour stream last night. So yeah,
let me be clear. Right, the American military, what they did, they lied to their enemies because they were getting bombed. So they made fields of wooden planes to lie to their enemies. Lying is part of warfare.
Stop.
Simple as that.
Why will that line not go away? He was doing that. I believe the line at the bottom won't go away. Why?
Suits though.
We can get to that. That's one of the things. But first, I want to say you said one tank of gas. Right, here's the thing.
No.
True.
When you go to the moon, you don't need to have the gas on all the time. You get out of Earth's atmosphere, and then you fire engines, and then you keep going. You turn off your engines, and because there's a vacuum in space, there's no atmosphere to stop you. You keep going.
No, there isn't.
The moon, you then fire your engines again to slow you down. So, but then when you're on the moon, because the gravity is so much less, the force needed to get off is so much less than when you get off of Earth. you don't need as much fuel, and then again, just a boost to get you to Earth, turn it off.
Yeah, guys, it's live now. It's live now.
And then when you get to Earth, stop it to slow you down. You can turn it on again to slow you down. So the one tank of gas is fine because you don't need it traveling the entire distance.
Well, just real quick. So the gravity on the moon is 1/6 that of Earth, correct? Yeah. So why didn't we need 1/6 the amount of power to get off the moon?
Because it's not an exact ratio.
It looks like it, Dylan.
But the amount of power that, and it's funny because this is the term that NASA uses, it's called weightlifting. I guess they used to call it, how much weight can they lift? And, SpaceX, they talk about it. If it took us a Apollo rocket, I believe, is it like a 27-story building? And now it's in the 20s, right? It's in the 20s.
Yeah.
And that blasted off. Everybody's seen the Apollo missions and how much gas and smoke and the explosion and how much power it took. And like you see those things and it'll give you chills. It's awesome. It is cool. And these rockets are badass. I agree with you on that. I think, listen, I'm not that far off. I like space too, Craig. You and I really aren't that different. Like most people aren't nerds like us. They're not looking up Werner von Braun, this and that. Yeah. So you and I really aren't that much different. We just have different opinions on one thing. So my point is, when you watch that, you see how much manpower and how much fuel it took to leave Earth. And then they tell us the moon is only 1/6 our gravity, yet it didn't even get close to 1/6 the amount of power it took to take off from the moon. It was like 1/1000th the amount of power. Yep. So to me, that doesn't compute. I would understand it's 1/6. It would take less power. But the fact that it took so much less power than it took for us to leave Earth, just, I mean, it's obvious to see that it's fake.
It'd be cool if we got into something scientific, but do they? No, never.
Understand the maths and physics behind how much power would be required. Just because the gravity is 1/6,
pseudoscientific,
an exact ratio that you transfer over to the power needed to escape the gravitational acceleration of the moon. I can talk you through.
But we can talk about weight, right? So like, an astronaut on the moon.
I could sit and talk you through the maths, but it's very complicated.
Well, hey, Flats, good to see you, bro.
Get it? I'm not arguing with that. When you're on.
And about half an hour later or so for this, I just seen it on. I thought, oh well, I might as well cover it. Why not? And I noticed you're do it tonight. I just noticed that.
Long. There is weight. It has mass. So just your physics, whatever, it's going to take a certain amount of power to lift weight.
And they calculated that power that they needed and then got off the moon. And again,
it's funny because they were on the moon for 33 hours, I believe, the first mission. Where did they go to the bathroom, Craig?
In their suits if they needed to.
That's what they supposedly had, diapers. So you're telling me these people are so smart. They have the greatest technology in the world. They can go from Houston, Texas to the moon, but they can't figure out how to poop. I mean,
well, they did figure out how to poop. They did it in their suit.
I know.
That is smart. That is figuring out how to poop.
Think about how smart that is, guys. We have this great technology, but we had to make these astronauts go there in a poopy diaper the whole time.
Yeah, that was part of it. Because
can you imagine that? Think about that, guys. Neil Armstrong's walking on the moon with a diaper full of shit.
Hold on,
in
Alex.
his
What
butt,
do you think they're going to do? Do you think
he's been shitting in for days? Think about how smart NASA is, guys. They're like, hey, we're going to send our astronauts to the moon.
Lander, Alex.
Why not? They have it in the ISS. Why wouldn't they have some sort of device to poop and pee in? We're human beings.
The lunar lander specifically was just to go from the orbiter downward back.
Yes, Michael Collins supposedly stayed in it. Then they went down. Yes,
and the orbiter had better facilities for doing that and stuff, but the lander they had to think about every single.
What about when they went
of weight, right? So they had to
Apollo
think about
16. They were there for over 3 days with no toilet.
Oh, again, they've thought about this.
Think about that. Apollo 17, guys, they had a diaper on. These astronauts had a diaper on for 3 days, shitting and peeing in a diaper.
This wasn't a jolly. This wasn't a holiday to the Bahamas where they want to be comfortable. None of them probably felt happy and comfortable.
I like you, and I do think you're smart, Craig. But listen, we don't. It doesn't take a physics degree to think that.
Jimmy and his Canada, good to see you guys.
Covered in poop, it would be hard to do science. Okay,
no one is saying it's not hard, Alex.
It'd be hard to do.
No one is saying that what they did on the moon was easy. It was one of the hardest things humanity has ever done, and they were probably uncomfortable. They probably had diaper rash. They probably had cuts and horrible stuff from doing that. But it doesn't change the fact that it happened. Some of it was probably extremely gross. They had to turn their own urine into water to drink. That is fucking horrible. Doesn't change the fact that it happened.
It's horrible.
Just because something's gross.
I love how that guy claps. That guy probably has a diaper
5 minutes
on right
till
now,
the Q&A. 5 minutes, guys, if you want to move to the
and Craig, I've really enjoyed this debate. We need to do it again.
Yeah,
we can talk about it a little longer because we didn't get into the spacesuits. The fact that we have technology that can just basically transfer 500 degrees instantly.
Well, it's a bit of a misunderstanding of how heat transfer happens in space. You understand there's a difference between heat and temperature, right?
Yeah, I do understand that. I understand that.
The fact that the suits themselves had cooling systems done by having ice open to the vacuum of space, which allowed heat transfer to happen and keep it cool.
Yeah.
Plus, they minimized the time that they were on the surface in particular, and they chose places where the temperature and stuff would be less.
That's Flatzoid's link for tonight, guys.
With it, where they spent more time out, the light hitting the lunar surface gives less energy because it has to give the same energy over a larger surface area. So the astronauts there were receiving less energy, so they could spend more time on the lunar surface.
You said that had AC. Did these suits have heat?
Yeah, they had everything to keep them what they needed. They could.
Quickly say hi, everybody. No, not everybody. Just say hi.
Hi, everybody.
Good to see you.
As did radio signals. You were like, how did people couldn't communicate unless it was? Well, radios existed for hundreds of years, and we've been sending. Did you know, for instance, the first underwater cable was actually laid in the 1880s to allow transfer of signals, specifically Morse code. So to say that they couldn't have sent a radio signal during the 1969s is frankly one of the dumbest things I've heard. And I talk to flat earthers regularly.
It's not dumb. It's not dumb. It's funny that he.
See, and I talk to flat earthers regularly. Well, you're talking to a flat earther.
The moon is 257,000 miles away. We didn't have a.
Well, so as far as I know, Alex Stein's a flat earther.
Travel to the moon.
So just the fact that you have Richard Nixon, Tricky Dick, who actually had to step down. He was the president while the Apollo moon missions happened. And how did his presidency?
Hey Jedi, good to see you, Charles.
Tricky Dick, right? So the president that was in.
Hey,
and
Alex,
funny,
let me ask you a
but
question.
real quick, before you ask your question, I will. How are they able in 1969 to get cell service from the moon before?
Cell service.
Before I know. He thinks it's funny, guys. We went to the moon with less technology than a TI-83 calculator, and this guy thinks that they were.
I was just about to do that, babe. Fair play.
I banned you.
Vicky just banned you. Yeah. Oh,
Not
it was Vicky
Keith,
banned you.
not
It was
PJ,
Vicky banned
me.
you, not Flats. It was Vicky.
There
One
is, oh my
bar.
God. Okay.
And this guy thinks that they're on the moon.
Alex,
Hey,
Alex,
Nixon,
Alex.
I'm pooping in this diaper right now for America, and I love this country, and I would shit in this diaper for the rest of my life.
Guys,
Thank you. Oh, and then we didn't even talk about this, guys. I don't want to play.
Alex, wait.
No,
let me
But
respond
I
to
will.
that.
Everybody, go look at a
Let me
picture
respond
of
to
the
that.
astronauts after they landed. They look like
Alex,
their dog
wait,
just died.
Before you change subject, okay. So you're acting like Richard Nixon got a bloody mobile phone, made sure his signal was there. Hello, boys, how you doing on the moon? Aye, great job.
That's what he did. He's
No,
in his
he
Oval
didn't. What
Office on a
happened-
phone,
what
on a
happened-
landline
yeah,
phone.
What happened was that landline phone was connected to NASA, and NASA then.
Oh, we didn't even talk about
Let
this.
me talk. I'm
Okay,
in the
so-
middle of a
but
sentence.
I got to make this point.
Right. NASA then transferred the phone signal to the radio, which then connected to them in space. The phone was not connected to the people on the moon. The phone was connected, to a
connected to
radio,
them, yeah.
which the radio was then connected to space. Oh my God.
Okay, but real quick, Craig, because I know we got to get to questions, and I didn't even get into this. This is why we have to do this again. We need to do this again.
Yeah,
so,
it's been fun.
so this is what's so funny. We didn't even talk about this, but and this is really the most important thing. I should have brought this up from the beginning before we get into the Q&A. There was a guy by the name of Gus Grissom. I'm sure you're familiar with Gus Grissom. Gus Grissom was the original Neil Armstrong. He was the guy that was supposed to go to the moon first. He was supposed to be the person that actually, first stepped. What is it? One small step for man, one large step for mankind, or whatever.
One giant leap.
This was the guy that was supposed to do it. And Gus Grissom actually died during a test. This was a test launch. They weren't launching it, but in a test launch,
It's
you go into the spaceship, you put on your seatbelt, you go through the launch.
one small lie for man, one giant deception for mankind. That's what it is, Alex.
The ability of the lunar
Vicky
lander. He
banned him
actually
again.
looked this up. Gus Grissom. hung
Vicky
a-
banned him again,
That's
eh?
right. And Gus Grissom was one of the most
Shut up,
decorated
Ben.
pilots in the United States Air Force.
No,
Hi,
you're right.
Jedi.
Like, so,
And he did hang a
Gus
lemon.
Grissom hated the project, and he was so
Someone
frustrated with the
stick a pork
the
pie in
delays
Craig's
and the
gob.
problems. He hung a lemon to show his frustration with how bad he thought it was. He did not think the lunar lander was going to be safe. A lot of them didn't, right? That's he was so frustrated with how badly it was being run that he did hang a lemon to show his disappointment in the whole thing.
But we didn't say what happened to him is, guys, they cooked him. They put him in a capsule. I'm not kidding, with 100% oxygen. Doesn't even make sense. Him, a scientist, they would know that you would not want an environment with 100%
No, they
oxygen.
didn't.
Yes, they did. Look it up. And he died during a test launch. Him and his two other, he died, and his last words were this. Gus Grissom's last words were this. Look it up. Look it up on your phone. Gus Grissom's last words were, if we can't talk between two buildings, how are we going to talk when we're on the moon? Literally, that's what he said. Here, I'll pull it up right now. Let me pull it up right now. I'll play it through the microphone.
While they're pulling that up, if you would
Yeah.
start forming a queue here for the Q&A
Right.
session.
So just to be clear, there was a fire caused by the pure
Can't believe there's a Q&A that quickly. I mean, I think I missed about 40 minutes. Should have been bloody longer than that.
Oxygen in the capsule, but down to 100% oxygen.
Well, the
Made it claim
capsule
one.
itself, they had a tank of pure oxygen to help with the breathing. It wasn't there wasn't all.
Well, they
pure
killed
oxygen.
him though during a test.
Well, no, something went wrong.
Yeah, well, he died.
They couldn't keep going for too long.
But Alex, I want to say
used
this
all
has
the
been great fun, mate.
oxygen.
It has been.
Hey, good to see you, Joe King. Good to see you, boy. Good to see you, Charles. Good to see all you guys. That's Charles.
Dylan.
That's Charles. Good to see you all. I need to.
Wiring beneath Grissom's seat, which had lost its insulation and was
that happened.
exposed to the air as electricity ran through the live wire. Crews outside sealed the module's 3 hatches and filled the air inside with pure oxygen. Then a small movement caused the exposed wire to
They were lit fights, but then I was then talking to Vicky and I thought, yeah, I'm going to cover the rest of it.
and tried opening the hatches to escape, but to no avail. As NBC News recounts, brief cries from the crew came over the headsets. White yelled, "Fire," and Grissom followed.
Yeah, they added pure oxygen to it.
According to
and then
NBC
bad thing
News,
happened.
Chaffee yelled, "Get us out," while Astronomy.com says he yelled, "Let's get out." Virgin.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hold on. I got to find the Gus Grissom.
Yeah.
Houston
So yeah,
comment.
they added pure oxygen in there because they thought it would help, but it made things worse. It
He
is the
killed
fact.
them, yeah.
I mean, he died because of some engineering that could have been better. Basically, not everything about the.
Bad
You know,
engineering. It took
let's be clear.
Sure.
It's sponsored by Atheists for Liberty.
Yeah.
We don't want to use that technology again. We want much better
But
technology.
Brenda's
I
the
think we should get to the
president.
Q&A because there's people waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, here. I think this is it. I think this is This is what he says. Yes, he says.
Full-scale simulation. The problems began almost immediately. First, the capsule's communication systems failed.
I didn't read your chuck at all. I can't read your chuck. You want to try the phone?
That's exactly what he said. How are we supposed to get to the moon if we can't talk between 2 buildings? Yeah, Craig thinks we can use radio signal and have a no delay phone conversation.
Oh, there
with
was definitely a
astronauts on
delay.
the moon, but, okay.
I've shown the delay on the stream. Anyway, that was fun.
Well, Gus Grissom, R.I.P. And his family, Gus Grissom's family, believes that he was murdered. Just if you guys ever want to look in, everybody look up Gus Grissom. All right.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you very much,
Yes,
gentlemen.
Black.
It's okay. We'll go to the Q&A now with the first question.
Here we go.
This question's sorry. This question's for Alex. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, brother.
If the amount of power it took to lift off from the moon was so crazy and incongruent or whatever, why didn't they just lie? Like, why didn't NASA just lie about it being good? Like, 1/6 of the.
Well, because you could just see the footage of it. The footage that it took to lift off. It's
What?
just like when you compare it to
Did Craig
the
just
structure
mouth,
that it
"I
took for us to
won"?
take off from Earth,
And
and you
I
compare
didn't,
the
probably.
the lunar lander taking off from the surface of the moon, it was like it's not
Probably.
even comparable the amount of power. So.
You can see the amount of power when you look at the video.
Well, I mean, you can kind of listen. If you want to believe that, I'm just saying, go watch both videos. No, I know, but go watch those. When you watch the Apollo rockets take off, dude, it is a cloud of smoke the size of a football stadium. It is like the most beautiful sight that you've ever set your eyes on. But when the lunar lander leaves from only 1/6 the difference of gravity, so if you go from being 300 pounds, what is that, like 75 pounds or whatever the math is, it would have there'd be some displacement. It looks fake. I mean, listen, we should pull up a video of the lunar lander taking off. It's
Yes,
just
but
nuts.
It must be real because it looks so fake.
Well, that's what Elon said. Yeah. Congratulations, Ashley St. Clair, on the baby.
Prime Time 99, what's going on?
Pimp on a blam. What's
My
up,
question's
brother?
for Craig, though.
How you doing, man?
I actually think
Yeah,
we went
there's
too, but one of the things that always baffled me was not seeing any stars in the sky. Do you want to know what the reason? Is there some sort of reason for that?
Yeah, said it was in the sunlight. That's
Yeah,
why.
the
It's like we
astronaut,
can't see
there's
stars during the day.
there's two quotes from astronauts. One when they're in the shuttle going to the moon, and then one when on the moon. On the moon, it was a lot harder because of the sunlight and
Dylan.
everything to see the stars. When they were in the capsule, it was a lot easier because less light
Thanks
coming
for
in the capsule
reminding
to
me,
see the
Dylan.
stars that were outside.
Mhm.
So it was just different situations at the time. If you're looking at the bright sunlight glare, it's very hard to see anything. So at that point, pretty much all he could see was blackness when he was on the moon with the sun in his face. Okay. Thank you for the question. Appreciate it.
All right.
Hey, oh sure. Yeah, that was a great debate. My question is towards Alex. I totally understand that we should definitely be critical about governments. We shouldn't just trust things. How would you engage the kind of counter engagement of Russia being like a hostile witness to the moon landing? Like, why would they support the moon landing when it's against their own interest? What would your
Well, you know, it's funny that you say that because there's actually other issues where governments work in concert to lie to us. So I guess is the question why? What motivation does Russia have not to expose America? Basically,
Exactly, yes.
Well, it's because they did fraud too. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Craig might say it's wrong, but it's like there's they say
It's
there's
wrong.
They say there's no honor among thieves, but there is. It's like look at the Antarctica Treaty. Antarctica Treaty we signed in 1954, Craig, and we've gone to war with countries that we're in this treaty with. So you can go to wars with country and still have treaties with them on other stuff. So for me, I'm a conflict interventionist. I know you're a veteran. I hate war, and I think war drives America, and that's kind of the problem that these governments will work in concert and they will expose certain things and not expose others. But like, dude,
Right.
this is, and I'm not saying this because you're Indian, but if you look at the Indian moon landing,
Yeah. I know.
They did not have enough
Terrible.
damn chicken shawarma to get that thing to the moon. It looks so fake. Even Craig has to admit that
I
footage.
actually know
looks bad.
someone personally who was involved in the Chandrayaan.
But you have to admit the footage looks
you would.
really rough, right?
I mean, the footage from space always looks dodgy.
Yeah, I'm just saying the footage looks
Just
dodgy.
because
Whatever.
it's not what we are used to seeing because the conditions are so different.
Oh, bull
Okay,
crap.
whatever. But my point is that
But
a lot of
moon
people are
are
on it.
better.
You look at the space agencies; they actually work together. There's like European Space Agency, Roscosmos, NASA. They actually, when they're at the International Space Station,
It
they're all
does,
together. So
Keith.
when it comes to space,
He knows the person
they're
in charge of
aligned a lot.
flushing the loo.
I know.
Hey, how's it going? This is actually for Craig to help Alex. Craig,
help
can you
Alex.
Explain why you don't see
Yeah.
smoke in a pure vacuum
Hey,
when
what's
this
the
plane
Don't go with the
later
questions.
lifts off.
Don't go with the questions.
Right. Basically, there wasn't flames
questions first.
like you get on Earth because there wasn't as much power being pushed out. There was. You can actually see if you look really closely and bring the exposure up. There is a slight trail, but there's so much less atmosphere around to show the colors of the fire. Plus, once it's come out, it dissipates in a different way than you see on Earth. But the main thing is there's so much less energy being put out that you don't see the same big fire that you see when you chuck rockets into space from Earth. It's all to do with the amount of output that's required and the conditions that are in. It's going to change what you're seeing. You're not going to see a flame in space the same as you see it on Earth.
Right.
Rubbish.
One more thing, and also the difference in friction from the atmosphere, since there is no atmosphere. And you're
Yeah,
in a vacuum.
the stop. When
Once
you're
you're
on
off,
Earth,
you're off.
you've got to get through the atmosphere. But when you're getting off the moon, there is no atmosphere there. So there's less energy needed to not only fight against the gravity, but there's less gravity and there's less atmosphere. So overall, it needs less.
And it's funny, we didn't even get into, guys, this. Gosh, we got to do this again. We didn't even talk about the Van Allen radiation belts that are a deadly belt of radiation that we can't even go through, and that they said that they would need enough lead where it'd make the spaceship even too heavy. So, but they, like Craig, this is what they say when you talk about this. They say that they found a little hole at the top of the Van Allen radiation belt, and they're able to get through it.
So the Van Allen belts don't cover the whole Earth. They're more like a donut.
That's kind of what they say. It's like there's a little hole. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There's not a little hole. They're more a donut around the Earth, and you could just kind of avoid it, really. So
I don't think
I get the donut.
That's why you're not an astronaut, Alex.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Next question.
My question's for Alex. Alex, do you know if there was a contemporary of Wernher von Braun
Hey,
that was
question.
better at
Don't go with
market
the
truth than
question.
he was? Or
Probably
was he
not. No. I think Wernher von Braun was actually a genius. I mean, he was a Nazi, and his rockets did kill people, and he decimated England. But no, he was a brilliant scientist. But isn't that crazy, guys? That you can literally do a genocide, and if you're smart, they'd be like, actually, you know what? You can come over to our.
Good to see you, we think.
So I don't think Craig's an anti-Semite for defending the moon mission. I know that. I'm just saying that in jest, but he does support a Nazi.
Yeah,
I get your issues with Nazis, and I completely agree with it. But to say I support a Nazi is wrong. I support.
You like Wernher von Braun, to be
No,
fair.
I don't like Wernher von Braun. I like.
You like the Apollo
technology.
moon missions.
But he didn't make the Apollo moon
He
missions.
was the leader
NASA
of the
did.
Apollo moon
Doesn't
missions,
change what happened, though. I like the result of what happened. I might not like everyone that was involved.
I'm sure Anne Frank would disagree.
Hi. I mean, it's good to see
Moon
you.
missions.
Do you think Anne Frank would like it that they went to the moon?
I think Anne Frank would think it was amazing.
Were you serious,
Oh,
Anne
wow.
Frank? If she heard after the Holocaust that they
Think
went to
it
the
would,
moon and
yeah.
it was done by a Nazi, you think she would be happy about that?
I think she would think
No.
it's incredible that we
No,
went to the
of
moon.
course not.
She would probably think it's a really shitty that they used a Nazi, but she's like, went to the moon. Well, that's cool.
I don't think so.
Oh,
She's under
why?
the floorboards, like happy that we're on space. No, dude, no, that's not. Anne Frank.
And she
would
probably
be,
didn't find out about it. But
Anne Frank would not be happy that a Nazi took us to the moon. But
All right, we'll go to the next question.
So we talk a lot about 1969, but what do you guys, both question to both of you, what do you guys say about the fact that long before 69, the Prophet Muhammad went to the moon on his flying horse and also split the moon in two? This is a serious question.
well, I've been told specifically by NASA, I'm not allowed to talk about that because we're trying to hide that from everybody. So
No, Dad.
we're going to have to
Shut
get you
up.
in the memory wipe chamber. So,
Well, it's funny
in
you say
fact,
that.
if everyone could just for 1 second, just look this way. Just
Idiot.
gonna need you. Everyone, just look over here.
Men in
Oh,
Black.
that never happened.
Well, no, a serious answer. So I'm a brother of Nation of Islam, and
Ooh.
Yaqub, the leader of one of
Relax.
the 12 tribes of Israel, he actually created the white race. And this is true through genetic breeding. This is real. Look up the Nation of Islam. Look up Yaqub.
No,
type it in.
Alex.
Type in Yaqub. Yaukuub. You'll like this, Craig.
Alex.
I don't need to do that.
Well, Yaqub was this guy, and he created the white race. So you actually are right. They've been in space way before us, and really, we're probably just some sort of like alien species of space travelers that they infected us like a germ, and we just kind of grew like molds here on this.
No.
I learned a lot today. Thank you.
No, Alex. I don't
Any
believe that.
further questions?
Is
If
it
not, we'd
taking
like
a
to
minute?
thank both
I
panelists.
think there's one more.
No.
Whoa, here
Come
we go.
on down.
So I am curious about you talking that fax was not around in 1969
Hey, skeptic.
because first we had the telegraph, and I don't remember from history when in time the telegraph was around. I know we talked about Morse code a little bit, but telegraph was definitely there, and then the fax was there in 1964.
No.
I hope he was
Look
joking,
it up.
Flat.
Okay, fax machine used by NASA. Let's see. I'm looking
But
it up.
if a fax machine is around, but so then there was also something with faxing in the 1800s, but specifically the fax machine is 1964.
Well, they didn't. It says they didn't become common until the 80s.
But
Common
is-
and
but
existing are two
is NASA
different
common?
things.
Is NASA having the same like research and technology as the layperson?
Well, it's funny because you believe that we went to the moon with a fax machine. You think that's enough technology?
No. I
They
believe
didn't-
that
they
they
went
can
to the
talk
moon on
to
a
each
fax
other with the
machine.
fax
Yeah.
machine, which
I
she
don't.
said they
Well, I don't
can't.
believe NASA used a fax machine back then because if you actually look at it, there's no proof of them using a fax machine when it comes to the Apollo moon mission. So.
But you brought up that there's no fax machine, so they
Well,
can't
they
talk to
weren't
each other.
okay. A fax machine was invented before 1969. They weren't regularly used because people didn't have numbers to connect with.
But the ability
So-
to use them existed, right?
But NASA did not use them when they did the Apollo moon.
Did
mission.
we? Does anyone
They-
ever said that we sent a fax to the
They
moon?
did
I
not-
don't think that's.
I know because
Not
it's,
sure
it's
that's a
not
claim.
about the fax machine. It's the fact that they went
You
to the
brought up the
moon
fax machine.
to make a point. You guys are sitting here arguing about damn fax machines. I'm talking about how are we going to go to the moon without email, without a fax machine. that
I don't
isn't
know about
regularly
you, but I
used.
don't need an email to go to the moon.
No, you need to post something
We have
on
email
God,
and
you
all this
twat.
technology today. We can't go to the
No,
moon, and we have
I want
endless
you to
amounts of
go
technology.
talk.
I have a
We'll do
computer
it
that
here.
walks around on my phone, and they didn't even have a computer.
Well, babe, quick.
I said no, he needs a pork pie in his mouth. What's he shouting for, dickhead?
I know.
All right, we'll get another question here.
Can we actually not go to the moon today?
No, not humans.
Nope.
We
Well,
cannot-
I mean,
we can't take a human past low Earth orbit. Ask Craig.
Well, we're certainly working on that technology.
But
making
can we
it a
go
lot
past
better.
low Earth orbit right now with a
Well,
human?
We're
No.
gonna see with the next Artemis mission.
But I'm just saying, right now, can we?
Well, no, because
No.
we don't have
Perfect.
we don't have a ship
We
we're
can't.
ready to go right now.
Right. So listen, go.
You haven't got the technology, allegedly.
Expert. I want you to go fax somebody something.
I'll make sure to go through facts so I know that it's not tampered
Yeah.
with.
But it's not about the fax machine. It's about the lack of technology that they had compared.
I know, Flats, it's hard to tell with Alex sometimes. It's hard to tell whether he's joking, taking the piss, or telling the truth because that's what he's like. So I was just saying no, Alex, just in case he was telling the truth.
That's what they're planning on. I was just at the Johnson Space Center. That's actually the plan. They're going to use robots for everything.
And the question from the floor was they could just send an AI robot. So thank you, Alex.
I'm actually scared of the idea of AI going to space, but
Me too.
every video game, every movie we've ever seen tells us. But this is for Craig, and it's very minor. the guy who had been killed by the oxygen and the fire, I'm afraid I forgot his name.
Gus Grissom.
Yeah, you had said that that our technology was archaic. That was cutting edge technology. That was cutting edge science. The basic problem was we weren't at the right stage of technology or science to do what we did.
Yeah, yeah.
So archaic was the wrong word, and that's not a criticism, but that was,
Yeah,
I mean, that was cutting edge science.
Yeah, at the time, obviously now, but if we look at it today, I agree with you absolutely. Yeah.
Discussion, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
The smartest people, that was the most cutting
Yeah.
edge science we had.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. At the time, there was a lot of they had a lot of issues with the way it was managed and put together and stuff. Which what the lemon everything's about. But by today's standards, it's archaic. But obviously, back then,
Matthew Eastman, good to see you, bro.
So yeah.
It's a complete non sequitur, but I just thought I'd know. You mentioned Richard Nixon.
Mhm.
I'm from northern New Jersey. One of my friend's mothers took us trick or treating to Richard Nixon's house in Saddle River.
Did he give you good candy? Did he have full size candy, or did he? Good for him. God bless Richard Nixon.
Yeah, my chat's coming back.
All right. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Any further questions from?
This guy has a question. Oh no, you're just clapping. All right, we're good. Craig, we got to do it again. That was a lot of fun.
man,
That was
absolutely.
a lot of fun.
All right, let's hear it for Alex and Fight the Flat Earth. Thank you very much, gentlemen. James is back. We'll be on a 15-minute break now.
Right, so I missed, obviously I missed the start of it. So guys, will I go back to the start and watch it to the point we came in at? So we do that, yes and no's, put Y for yes, N for no.
FTFE needs to change his name to Only Fights Old People. Matthew, I don't know why Mr. Cheswick's gone. He just said, trust him.
All right. So Matthew says no. So not back to the start. We might do something completely different. Should we go back to the start? Well, Flats is covering it tonight. There's no need for me to go back to the start thinking about it. There's no need for me to go back to the start. Flats is covering it. So yeah. Let's do something else then. Let's do something else. Let me just try and see what I've got, see what videos I've got. What, babe?
I said, hi, Jeff.
Aye. I'm only going to be on for another half an hour. I just want to chill for it. It's only because I've been on half an hour. I need to do at least an hour. You know what I mean? So, there's nobody with, right. So, you're not keen on going back to the start. There's no point thinking about it because Flats is doing it tonight. What?
Do you know Craig's body language and his face give two different things? Like when he laughs and smiles, right? But his arms are crossed. And that's like a closed off thing. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
he laughs because he wants to come across as confident and that, but his body language shows that he's actually really insecure.
Oh, definitely. And he was nervous against Andrew yesterday, that's for sure. If you want me to, I will go back to the start if you want me to, or do you want me to do something completely different? Because kind of the spaceman looks like he wanted me to go back to start. I don't know. Because he just said, oh, okay, maybe we'll watch Flats stream then. Do you want me to go back to the start, Canada?
Put 1 in chat if you want to go back to the start, put 2 if you want something else.
Yeah.
There you go.
Why to go back? No, sorry, 1 to go back.
1 to go back.
No,
2
or 2 for something else. 2, okay, yeah, okay. And Baz says 2, that means everybody else is going to say 2, guaranteed. Oh no, Candace says wait, restart. Okay. That's a 2 and a 1. I need a definitive.
Do you know what, Canada?
That's a 1 each.
If America kept Craig, the UK would be really happy.
Yeah, so LJ, oh, come on, Thomas, 1.5. So you're not sure. Okay, so far we're going back to the start.
Right.
So far we're going back to the start, but sorry
I'm
about
gonna
that.
love you and leave you.
All right. It's not even that long. Oh, come on, look with your 7s.
Matt Luke.
Okay,
There's
then.
only so much for Craig I can listen to within a 24-hour period.
And pause. You bugger. So, okay.
Love you.
I love you too. I love you too, babe. So, yeah, 1 for back to the start. Yeah, I think it's back to the start. Sorry about that.
Bye, guys.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'll go back to the start. Okay, then. Let's do it. And I'll just get to the point where I come in. Love you, babe. Love you. All right. Back to the start then, by the looks of it. Yeah, right, okay. Okay, back to start then. Okay. Let's do it.
You keep having conversations, then
A ton still. So, Sean, thanks so much. I'll let Sean get us started officially. He is from Uncensored America, which is an organization.
I know,
that's
Basil, they do.
Sponsoring Modern Day Debate. We've been collaborating. I will let Sean explain them, but I do want to say thank you, Sean, for everything.
Yes. Thank you so much, James. Let's give a big round of applause for James. Well, we were here yesterday. Man, I was gonna say last week. Hasn't been that long. We were here yesterday, and we are doing a bunch of religion debates, and it was very fun to watch it and see like all these people like duke out these ideas. But it was on a sort of security concern that we were having, as the one debater was concerned about threats to his life, and it's just crazy that you can. Even in 2025, we still have to worry about having death threats hurled at us just for having conversations and having debates or anything like that. So I just want to say that if you guys want to keep having conversations, keep watching James's channel, keep coming to these events, and also check out Uncensored America on YouTube.
No,
as well,
don't. You want James's channel.
We're like James. We like having conversations. We like having debates with people. And the more we do that, the better. Because if you stop because somebody threatens you, harasses you, bullies you, or in our case, we've gotten our funding pulled from universities, then they're going to just keep winning, and they're going to keep trying to censor us. So if you keep fighting, you keep having conversations, then we're going to keep having free speech in this country. So let's keep fighting for free speech. And if you want to start an Uncensored America chapter, you can go to uncensoredamerica.us. We're on college campuses where we just host debates, events, everything like this. So check that out, and hope you guys enjoy the next debate. So without further ado, let me bring back up Dr. James Coons.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sean.
Doctor? You
I
actually
want to
doctor?
mention too, if you would like to have Sean or any of our other staff that we have from DebateCon help you with like video editing or filming, reach out to moderndaydebate@gmail.com.
They're great. Sean's great at these events.
100%.
And Jeff deserves credit too.
They're
especially.
stars,
Yes.
and if you're like, hey, I could use your help, like, let me give you some work, moderndaydebate@gmail.com. These guys are stellar. But we're going to get into the actual debate first with the introductions. And I also want to give you a primer that once I introduce our speakers, we're going to have a vote. It's a hand poll, basically, where we just check to see which way you lean in terms of whether or not you agree more with Alex versus Fight the Flat Earth. Alex will be going first, so I'm going to introduce him first. He is Tucker Carlson's biological stepson and defender of big booty Latinas. They make me say this.
Don't deport them. All illegals have to go except for big booty Latinas. They can stay.
It's really dark. We need to
Alex
turn
will
the
be
lights
taking the
on.
position that the moon landings are a government hoax and defending the position that they are, in fact, real moon landings. Craig, Fight the Flat Earth, is an ex-Royal Navy nuclear engineer, a powerhouse debater, and
But James is meant to be the moderator, Baza.
backed by years of experience and degrees in physics and nuclear engineering. Please welcome both of our speakers. We're thrilled to have you here, gentlemen. And then I do want to let you know that we will have this hand poll where if you happen to lean more towards Alex's position, that the moon landings are a hoax, could you slide your hand up?
Smart people.
There you go.
And then if you lean more toward Craig's position, that the moon landings are legitimate.
Extremely smart people.
No. Deceived people.
So what we're going to do, the reason we do these hand polls is because one of our sponsors is Manifold, which is the world's largest social prediction market online. They are linked in the description box. So if you're watching at home, folks, check out the link where you can predict who is going to win this debate, determined by the hand poll before and after the debate, as we look at the percentage of people who agree with one speaker or another. All I ask is that for the second hand poll, only vote if you voted in the first one.
John
Now,
Arm.
we are going to get into the actual debate itself. Check out Manifold, which is linked in the description box if you're watching at home, and you can vote. Who you
Yes,
think will
he
win
did.
this debate.
Dylan,
And
he
with
did.
that, thank you very much for being with us, everybody. Thanks for your patience. We are going to kick it off with Alex Stein's opening statement. The floor is all yours, Alex, for 10 minutes.
Well, thank you. And guys, give it up for everybody. James, Dr. James, and thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And I know it's early this morning, but we're about to get the party started. All right, guys. So if you know who I am, you might not.
See you later on, Flats. Bless you, man.
Stepson. And today we're here to talk about the 1969 Apollo moon missions and why they were provably false. So my opponent here, Craig, is going to sit here. He's going to tell you, that these moon landings were real, but let's just be real. Let's actually be real. We cannot go to the moon today. We cannot take a man past low Earth.
Probably about fourth. I don't know. Dylan, no, kind of the best spaceman. Probably about his fourth debate. I don't know.
And 400 miles away. But during the 1969 Apollo moon missions, we were able to go 257,000 miles to the moon on one tank of gas. That's right. And the power that it took us to blast off from planet Earth and go to the moon, it took us less than 1/1000th the amount of fuel to lift off the moon and come back to America. So it's just impossible. And the idea that you look at what was going on in the world in 1969, and if you look at the origins of the space program,
That's what you should have said.
Craig is going to rebut this, but my last name is Alex Stein, and I don't want to get emotional when I think about this. You guys might not know this, but the NASA Apollo moon missions
Exactly, I'll do.
Was run by a Nazi. Yes,
Mhm.
that's right. A guy by the name of Werner von Braun. Do
Right.
you guys know who Werner von Braun is? Werner von Braun was the leader of the German rocket program. He created the V2 rocket that decimated England, decimated Poland, and these ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, were actually the origin of the Apollo moon missions. That's right. So the rockets that took us to the moon, allegedly, were actually rockets that were first intended to murder and kill people, that were designed by this guy, Werner von Braun. Now, for me, when I think about the Holocaust and I think about the 6 million people dying,
straight by that,
the people being put into an oven, and I think about the people being gassed, and I think about the displacement of a whole group of people, and it makes me really sad. I would think that the Holocaust was very bad.
I know planet Earth, head slap Earth. He's saying that sarcastically, obviously, to get his point across.
I think we would all agree that the Holocaust was terrible, right? It was a genocide of people. And one of the most important people during the Holocaust was this guy, Werner von Braun. And Werner von Braun is not a good guy, but because he was a smart scientist, through a thing called Operation Paperclip, the Nuremberg trials, not everybody went to the Nuremberg trials. Even if you killed people, if you were a smart enough scientist, you got to come to America, and guess what? Werner von Braun got to have a job with NASA, became very good friends with Walt Disney. Isn't that crazy? Because we live in a time now where we can't go to space, and they tell us that Nazis are bad. But for some reason, in the 50s, Nazis are cool. So when you look at the origins of our space program and you look at who was running it, a guy by the name of Werner von Braun, who was a Nazi, the Nazis were great at lying. Nazis were some of the best strategic military engineers. People in Germany are smart. Let's not front. Mercedes is a good car. BMW is a good car. So there is a reason why, even in a terrible thing, like, Craig's going to be like, well, even though it was a terrible war, we shouldn't kill these scientists. Not me. I think if you killed people, you should have got the Nuremberg trial. So I don't like the origins of our space program. And we can get into
No, of course not.
the shadows, of course. Doesn't make sense that the shadows are basically, running into each other. You can talk about all of the little stuff. They're going to talk about how there's no blast crater when the lunar lander went on the moon. There was not one speck of moon dust on any of the lander pods when it was on the moon, which is just provably false. When you have a huge rocket engine,
right, Dylan.
Lifting you down onto a planet, there would be a huge blast crater. But of course, there's no blast crater underneath the lunar lander. And then on top of that, how they were able to shoot it in later missions, watching the lunar lander take off. I think it was Apollo 14 is the first time they were able to film it. And they said that they were able to do this with a timed camera, that they were able to time it and it was able to just film the lander go up. All of this is impossible. You know why? Because we didn't even have a fax machine in 1969. We didn't have email. Think about how hard it is to get stuff done today with email. We can communicate across the world instantly. We couldn't do that in the 60s. We didn't have a fax machine. So how are you going to communicate to somebody in Florida if you're in Texas without a fax machine? You have to do it over a telephone.
Yeah.
So the transfer of documents is impossible in the 60s. So if we don't have the ability today to send a manned mission to the moon, then we weren't able to do it in 1969. I was actually just recently at the Johnson Space Center, and they showed Artemis. Artemis is the new plan to go to the moon. That's
Yeah, Canada.
But when you look at Artemis, they let us tour it. It looks almost identical to the Apollo lunar landers. It just looks like it's more reinforced. So my point is, it's not even some new technology that they're developing. It actually looks very similar. Now, it might be new materials and new computers, but it actually looks kind of similar to the ones that landed.
Really,
in
Jeff? I didn't know
1969.
that.
You know, I just ask you to critically look at this. I know that we all have American pride, right? You know, you're from America. We're the greatest country. But when you look at the space race, for every 100 hours of space time that the Russians had, America only had 20. And you're like, Alex, well, if America faked the moon landing, why didn't Russia expose them? Well, it's funny you say that because Russia was actually the first to go to the moon and take a sample, allegedly. Now, I don't even think they were able to do that in 1969, but the reason why they wouldn't tell is because they're both
That's
lying.
true,
They're
LJ.
telling on themselves by exposing somebody else. So if you're both, you know, thieves and you steal from the same bank, you don't want to tell on one person for stealing from the same place that you stole from because potentially you both
Yeah,
could get caught.
skeptic.
So there is an incentive to lie, and everybody in this room knows that there are classified levels of information that we are not privy to, that the government has no obligation to tell us the truth about anything. That's not their job. As a matter of fact, their obligation more is to lie to us and keep us in the dark. So when you have a situation where the space program was created by literal Nazis that lie, that kill people, that put people in ovens, then they get to go to America because they're really smart and build these Apollo rockets that allegedly took us 257,000 miles of space on one tank of gas. It's just provably false. And also, I want to harp on this. Forget about all the rocket power. Forget about that. All right. Forget about the lander, how goofy that looks. Forget about all that. The spacesuit on the moon, in the sun, it is 250 degrees Fahrenheit. When you go into the shade in the moon, it is automatically negative
It is a good point.
240 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a difference of 500 degrees. So if you go from the sunlight in the moon to the shade, that is a 500 degree change. 240 degrees is hotter than the boiling point of water.
Yep.
And that these spacesuits in 1969 were able to just magically go from 500 degrees instantly. That's just impossible. We don't have the technology to do this now. And if you look at the spacesuits, they're going to say the spacesuits were pressurized. That's not true. If the spacesuits were pressurized, you wouldn't see wrinkles in it. They would look kind of like, remember in COVID where they would wear those big suits
Yeah.
and they'd blow air in it and how
Yeah.
the suits were all puffed up. A spacesuit would not have wrinkles in it if it was actually pressurized. It would be more like a balloon. So we don't have the ability to go today. That's like the main thing I want to harp in your head is that it doesn't make sense. A 1969 Cadillac is not more technologically advanced than a 2024 Cadillac. It's just not. And so the only technology that goes backwards happens to be the Apollo missions. And what's even crazier about all of this is that the telemetry data, the data that we use to tell exactly where the spaceship was the whole time, guess what happened to that?
Pro 777.
It all got deleted. That's right. The
Comment.
telemetry data got deleted. And then also the blueprints for the lander. We're not even able to get the blueprints for the lander. And what's really funny is Ron Howard actually did a documentary about this.
Oh, Ron Howard,
He
yeah.
was trying to get access to a lot of this stuff for his documentary. And NASA said, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have that tape. We don't have that footage. So just the mere fact that NASA would tell you for budgetary reasons, they had to re-record over the telemetry data tapes. And now we don't have the telemetry data. It just shows you that it's provably false. So
Yeah,
we have a lot to
rubbish.
talk about. I didn't even really get into the science aspect of it. I more want to talk about the social aspect of it, because this was a lie done to the American people to win a space race in order to distract us from the Vietnam War that was currently going on. So this was all a distraction. And this is how much people cared about the Apollo moon missions. It was Apollo
It is
13
Canada.
is the one where they had the crazy thing. They supposedly fixed the lander, or excuse me, they fixed the spaceship with like a toilet paper roll and a sock. But before Apollo 13, on Apollo 12, people were calling ABC, they were calling the news stations, and they were mad that the Apollo mission was messing up their I Love Lucy shows. That's what they were mad about. I'm dead serious. People were more interested in watching I Love Lucy than watching the moon landing. So when it comes to this and it comes to technology, it's all a lie. I hate to tell you that. And Wernher von Braun, the guy that brought us there, was a Nazi responsible for the death of 6 million Jews. So unless Craig is an anti-Semite, which I don't think he is, he's going to have a tough battle,
That's time.
helping a Nazi like Wernher von Braun. Thank you. That's my time.
All right. Thank you, Alex. You may have noticed I am not James. I'm stepping in for him here. So he'll be back in a few minutes. FTFE, the floor is all yours. 10-minute opening.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to James Modern Day Debates for bringing me all the way here from Scotland. It's been an amazing experience. And thank you, Alex, for coming and being my opponent. I appreciate it. I'm Craig McNell. I run the YouTube channel FTFE. Just so you know, I have 2 degrees, one in physics, one in nuclear engineering. So I understand the technology and the science side pretty well. And I'm going to kind of try and stick to that as my main argument. I want to talk about the fact
Nuclear
that we're
engineering.
kicking off a journey back to one of humanity's biggest hold my beer moments, the Apollo landings. Picture this, it's the late 1960s, and while some folks are busy inventing conspiracy theories that would make even your paranoid uncle blush, NASA's gearing up to do the impossible, land humans on the moon. The Apollo program,
You said it,
not just
the
a few guys with a
impossible.
tin can, but a series of missions that push the limits of what we thought was possible. Their goal is to land humans on the moon, explore it, and bring them safely back home. Simple, right? Just overcome the minor hurdles of vacuums, cosmic rays, and zero gravity. The key milestones and the few things, figuring out how to get a rocket to break free from Earth's wardrobe of gravity without turning into a giant firework, not to mention teaching astronauts how to moonwalk before Michael Jackson made it cool. Apollo 11.
I was okay with that kind of the spaceman, because I remember when that happened, I was in prison for 3 years, so it didn't bother me.
Leaps into history and the hearts of conspiracy theorists like Alex everywhere. The technological marvels, everything from space food that could survive a nuclear war to computers less powerful than your coffee maker, yet they got us to the moon and back.
Yes, Derek.
Well, some of us can't even get a decent cell signal today. The global impact was huge. This was Earth's selfie moment. Watching its own species step out into the universe, it united humanity, proving that together we could achieve the unimaginable. And the cultural significance, let's just say it gave us more than a few good movies and a whole genre of space rock. So as we blast off into this debate, remember the moon landing isn't just a story of human achievement, it's a slap in the face to every science denier who thinks moon landing hoax is a great conversation starter at parties. So let's talk about third-party verifications, because sometimes you need a bit more than just your mum to vouch for you. When it comes to proving the moon landing, it wasn't just NASA's word against the conspiracy theorists. We had some pretty serious backup. First up, the Soviet Union. Yes, America's favorite Cold War besties. They weren't just sitting back with popcorn. They were tracking every single move made. If anyone had an incentive to call it a hoax, it was the USSR. But instead of busting NASA, Soviet tracking stations from Crimea to Siberia confirmed every single milestone of the Apollo missions. Talk about an awkward moment for hoax believers. Then there's the global network of...
No, probably you're right there, boy. Probably AI and Mick Toon wrote it.
They weren't just any stargazing hubs. They were some of the best eyes on the planet, and they were all watching the same thing at the same time, men landing on the moon. We're talking about places like Jodrell Bank in the UK, which snagged transmissions directly from the lunar surface, or the Parkes Observatory in Australia, which famously gave us some of the clearest TV pictures of the astronauts hopping around on the moon. Why does this matter? Because these verifications came from sources with no dog in the political fight, armed with nothing but hard data and a clear view of the sky. They helped cement the moon landing, not just as an American triumph, but as a human one. So when someone tries to tell you it was all filmed in Hollywood basement, just remember the whole world was watching, and not one credible source has ever cried cut on Apollo 11.
Oh my
Right, so
goodness.
one of the favorite bits of evidence I like to go into is the moon rocks. Forget about your average backyard pebbles. These rocks are literally out of this world. First off, we're not talking
Oh.
about just a handful of rocks. Over 600 samples were handed out like galactic party favors to more than 100 countries. Why? To ensure scientists worldwide could roll up their sleeves and get down to some serious moon rock analysis. This wasn't just an American show, it was a global science fest. Now, did some of these rocks, where did some of these rocks come from? Straight from the moon's surface, collected by astronauts who were busy making history while jumping around in low gravity. These rocks aren't just rare, they're alien, featuring a cocktail of minerals and isotopes that you just cannot find on the Earth. The scientific jackpot these rocks represent can't be overstated. They've given us a window into the moon's fiery formation, its crusty history, and even clues about the early solar system. Each rock is like a chapter of a celestial encyclopedia written in a language that scientists are still eagerly decoding. And here's the kicker. The unique properties of these moon rocks are nothing like what we have on Earth, which smashes any ridiculous claims that they were cooked up in a studio. They're the smoking gun of the moon landings, proving we didn't just send cameras to the moon, we brought a piece of it back. Decades later, these are still making headlines with new discoveries, proving their scientific gifts keep on giving. Right, so one of my absolute favorite evidence for the moon landing, and this one is undeniable, is the Grand Prix. During the Apollo 16 lunar rover, or as I like to call it, the first off-road moon racing in history, it wasn't just a stroll on the moon, it brought along a lunar rover that turned the moon into a racetrack. This wasn't for kicks. The rover was essential for expanding the range astronauts could cover, making it easier to hold their scientific gear and collect samples. But they had a bit of fun too. Now, the Grand Prix video. This gem shows astronaut John Young whipping around on the lunar surface. But forget Hollywood car chases. This was a physics lesson on live TV. The dust kicked up by the rover didn't behave as it would on Earth. Instead of lingering in the air, it shot up and fell straight back down in a perfect parabolic arc. Why? Because there was no atmosphere and a whole less lot gravity. These dust trails are crucial. They visually demonstrate two things. First, the moon's gravity is about 1/6 that of Earth, which affects how fast the dust settles back down. And second, the absence of any atmospheric drag means no air to suspend the particles. They're in a hurry to hit the ground again. The insights from these simple observations are vast. They help us understand not just lunar geology, but also the fundamental principles of physics in low gravity. So next time you watch the Grand Prix, remember, it's not just a cool space video. It's literally a demonstration of physics. Wow. And to say that this was in some kind of studio means they would have had to have done two things. One, remove the atmosphere from the studio, and two, change the gravity in the studio. I myself have done analysis on the dust particles to show that their parabolic trajectory could not be in a gravitational acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared that we experience on Earth. The retroreflectors, stemming from the Apollo missions, the lunar reflectors aren't just any piece of equipment. They're essentially cosmic mirrors we left on the moon, which are still serving science to this day. Deployed during 11, 14, and 15, these retroreflectors are designed for one job: to reflect lasers sent back from Earth. Not your average high school science experiment. It's a setup that allows us to measure the distance from Earth to the moon with incredible precision, like millimeters. And why do we care about this? Because it's crucial for testing the fundamentals of physics, including Einstein's theory of relativity. These ongoing experiments are carried out by numerous international observatories, demonstrating that the legacy of the Apollo missions extends far beyond those first small steps on the moon.
And it just, we think.
So also there's the photo and video evidence, which is vast and incredibly large, and none of it is missing, despite what Alex would like to say. The photos and videos, some say they're smoking guns of the grand hoax. Well, no. The shadows and lighting in these photos are all incredibly consistent. So much so that NVIDIA used their 3D technology to trace the path the rays of light would take and simulate where the shadows would fall in the geography that we have on the moon. And they matched up 100% to what all the videos and photos and videos showed. Don't just take NASA's word for it. Independent photographic experts from around the globe have scrutinized every pixel of these. They're not just any expert, they're people that can spot a Photoshop job from a mile away. And what's their verdict? The images are authentic, with geometric perspectives and lighting effects only possible on the lunar surface. These photos and videos have been available for public scrutiny since they were taken. Anyone with enough interest and the right expertise can review them. This openness is what you'd expect from a so-called, it's not what you'd expect from a so-called grand deception. Right, so As we wrap up our journey through the compelling evidence of the moon landings, let's just take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. From third-party verifications by the Soviets during the Cold War to independent analysis of moon rocks and the ongoing lunar laser ranging experiments to the physics of the Grand Prix and the regolith being kicked up. Each piece of evidence, from the unique behavior of the dust on the lunar surface to the retroreflectors still used today for precise measurement, builds a case not just for the reality of the moon landings, also for the integrity and capability of the scientists and engineers who made it happen.
1 minute.
We've seen that this isn't just about historical records, it's about ongoing validation in scientific community. The data and findings are not locked away, they're available for anyone to review and scrutinize. This transparency reinforces the authenticity of the missions and highlights the scientific methods, highlights the scientific methods' role in advancing our understanding of the universe.
Of course.
And
Craig,
thank you
of
very
course.
much. I appreciate the time.
Oh,
All right,
Craig.
thank you, Craig. Gentlemen, I know you both. I know the passion you have on this subject. We are going to go into.
So full of crap, isn't he? So full of crap. I'm with Boy. I think that's AI written, plus as well as McDoon. I think what he said there is AI written.
Wanted to specific one to go through real quick, Craig.
But yeah, I mean, we can talk.
We could.
about
I
it.
know,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just 4 things real quick. So,
Craig, you're okay with that?
yeah, yeah.
All right.
just real quick. So you talked about bouncing a laser off the moon, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So do you know when the first time we did that?
After they were put up, not long after.
Well, that's wrong. Actually, we did that. MIT did that on May 9th, 1962. So you can see that. So just so Craig knows.
So that's off the moon, not off the retroreflector.
Oh, you see, that's what's so cute.
Well
Is
received.
this guy, no, that's so cute. Okay.
So Alex, the difference
Yeah,
there is
uh-huh.
the precision that we can do. Just
Mhm.
bouncing lasers off the moon, we don't get the precision, the
Mm-hmm.
strength of the
True.
signal back. With the retroreflectors, the intensity of the signal that we get back allows us to do much more precise analysis on the distance to the moon using the
Well,
basic
wouldn't you
one-
say that we've been able to shine a laser off it? So you saying that we shine a laser off it after the moon
Never
mission
rethink.
doesn't
Never.
prove
Exactly.
that we can't shine a laser off.
No,
Do you
but
see what I'm saying?
the point is there's a very big difference to just shining
Nah.
off the moon to shining off of retroreflectors. We can tell by the intensity of the signal we get back what it is.
And you've seen the videos of them shining this laser on the moon, right?
Yeah,
and then they shine it, and then they just look at a computer screen, right?
Well, yeah, they can time the
Mhm.
distance and predict what. And there's the thing is they can
Yeah.
point the laser away from the moon and it won't hit the thing.
Well,
or
can
they
we just
point it
agree
at
that-
the retroreflector? And once they point it at the retroreflector,
But
they
we
get
c-
back such a precise and intense signal that allows them to determine
True.
that the moon is
True,
moving
right.
away or a particular. It's millimeters precision, and that precision
Mm-hmm.
is the point of the retroreflectors. Yes, before the retroreflectors, we absolutely could bounce a laser off of the moon,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't give us the precision and the intensity of the signal back that allows us to do lunar laser ranging experiments that are still being done today by children in observatories around America and the world. So the fact that
Well,
children
I'm just
can do
saying we were
this-
able to shine a laser off the moon before the moon mission, so that doesn't prove that we went there. But
Of
you're going to say
course.
that. Okay, now we got to go. Now, I don't know if you got the article that I sent. You said the space rocks. You're talking about how we have so many great space rocks. That was one of your main points. Well, it's so crazy. I don't know, Jeff, are you able to pull this up on this one?
What do you think?
So it's crazy though that you said that. Yeah, that's one. Click that. Because if you pull this up, so it's just so wild. This is what they called a moon rock. So if you look at this article, and this is NBC News, the Dutch National Museum said Thursday that one of its prized possessions, a rock supposedly brought back from the moon by U.S. astronauts, is just a piece of petrified wood. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's NBC. I know you guys, listen, I know you guys, they went up there and they brought a bunch of rocks back. Sure. But you know what's real funny is having moon rocks actually doesn't prove they went to the moon, because this Nazi that he didn't mention in his opening statement didn't apologize for the
Hey,
death
so
of
you
6
know
months.
that whether
real
it's a
quick.
Nazi or not doesn't make a difference to what happened.
No, that does make a difference.
No,
It does make a
whether
difference.
he's a horrible
Okay,
person,
all
is
right.
irrelevant
Yes,
to
Tony,
the
it would.
technological marvels
It
that
does-
came from the moon landings.
It does make a difference, but we'll get into that. But what's funny, because you talk about these moon rocks. So what do you have to say?
So
Why
yeah,
would NASA give
there's
them
a story
petrified
behind this.
wood?
When they trace back the the passage of hands where this, it never actually came from NASA. specifically.
came from an astronaut.
Yeah, that astronaut.
Who works for NASA?
Right?
Does an astronaut work for NASA,
yeah,
Craig?
no, it
Craig,
didn't-
does an astronaut?
let
No,
me-
because you just said it
yeah,
doesn't come from NASA. Does an astronaut work for NASA, Craig?
If someone works for McDonald's, does that mean every burger they make comes from McDonald's? Did they do it at their home?
I'm saying
Alex?
yes. If I got it, if an employee from McDonald's gave me something, I would say that was from McDonald's.
So if
is
you
what
went
I
to
would
this
say.
McDonald's
Yes.
employee's house and they gave you a burger, you'd say thanks for the Big Mac, dude. No.
Yeah,
you go
because
to
they got it
McDonald's.
free because
Just
they work at
because-
McDonald's.
Just
So
because
you're
he
trying.
worked
No.
at NASA doesn't mean it
This
came
is how
from NASA.
smart he is.
Right.
A
Now, let me
NASA
explain-
astronaut, an employee of NASA, an astronaut gave somebody this
Here we go,
rock,
Alex.
but he's so dumb he's going to say, "Oh, you know what? NASA didn't give it to anybody. Yet a fucking astronaut gave it to him.
So-
The biggest employee at NASA are the astronauts. These are the ones that gave him this fake rock.
Are you
He's
gonna
going to
have a
act
heart
like." No, I'm fine. I'm just saying
Alex.
this is what I deal with. These people. He's like,
Does someone want to get an
Alex,
ambulance on standby
no,
here?
No, it just
Is
gets
it, do you need a minute?
No,
Are
I
you
feel
okay?
great. I just
Right.
this,
Right, Alex, right,
the-
look at me.
the
Alex,
mental
Alex, right. I want you to breathe for a
the
second.
mental
Just breathe in.
gymnastics. My
Oi,
breathing
on
is
the
fine.
breathing
The
thing
mental
again.
gymnastics
I'm
you
worried
have to
here.
go through
Okay,
is that you
right.
say this
Right,
petrified
here we
rock
go.
had nothing
Here
to
we
do with
go.
NASA. It was given by an astronaut. Do astronauts work for NASA, Craig?
Do everyone?
Do
that-
astronauts?
do.
Yes, they do.
So-
So then it was given to
Alex.
them by NASA.
No, it was given to them by somebody that works at NASA.
Aye, because if he didn't crank it up, Craig would be heard. Because usually it's Craig that's heard. So yeah, I get what he's doing.
For 5 minutes, so give me a second. I seriously, you need to take a deep breath. It's
Wait,
okay.
Craig,
Right,
this
Alex,
is-
so let me
you
breathe.
see why I'm
Alex, yeah, give me 1
frustrated,
second. Give me 1 second. Right. So this was never an official moon rock sample from the place
good,
that he
quiet.
got them. For some reason, this astronaut thought it was and gave it to someone, but it was never an official gift. It was never clarified as a moon rock. It never came from the moon rock samples. And it's as simple
Oh,
as
is that
that.
why- is that
You
why
can
they
look
put-
back, but every single moon rock that's actually verified as a moon rock can be analyzed and shown it has properties that you cannot get on Earth. This was never said to be an actual
Well-
moon rock by NASA officially. Okay,
Oh.
someone that worked at NASA made a mistake, just like anyone that works for a company can make a mistake. But that's fine. People
Well,
can
real
make
quick,
mistakes.
no,
but what we
actually,
need to do,
real-
Alex,
No,
is look
that's
at the-
an-
look,
let's talk
hold on,
about the
wait,
mistake.
No, that's the narrative you put they put out. Bullshit. Bullshit.
the astronaut didn't know.
So he just found this petrified rock and said, "Oh, I think
Basically,
this is from the moon."
He made a mistake.
You believe that?
He made a mistake.
He just found
right?
this in his backyard,
Not in his backyard.
and he just found a rock and said, "I'm going to go
Alex,
give this to a museum
but
so they can put it
what
on
we need to
display
do
as
is
a moon
look at
rock."
the actual moon rocks that are verified as moon rocks. No one ever said this moon rocks apart
okay,
from that
about
one
this, Craig.
astronaut, right?
Okay, first of all,
look,
we know that,
Alex,
that
Alex,
there's
what we
fake
need to
rocks
do-
in museums.
Alex,
But
no,
real quick-
stop 1 sec. What we need to do is actually look at the moon rocks that have been analyzed by countries all around the world. And what you need to
Craig,
do is
Craig.
instead of focusing on this one which has been clarified to not actually be from the moon,
It's a
we need to
fake
look at the
rock
ones that were
given
from the
by
moon.
NASA, but-
yeah, but we need to look at the ones actually from the moon and make explanations for it. So let me
And no,
ask you a
Craig's really
question.
smart. No, Craig,
Let
no,
me
no,
ask
no,
you
no,
a question.
no.
Alex, right.
Okay,
calm-
ask me the question, then I'll ask you a question.
Right. So the point is we need to look at the ones that are verified that actually from the moon. So I need to ask you, how do you explain the micrometer like holes that we find in the moon rocks? How do you explain the isotopes and the radiation that comes from these moon rocks that show they could not have been from Earth?
See, this is why Craig's so smart, right? He says these.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
No,
I
this is
know
why
I'm
he
smart.
says
It's
it.
okay.
This is why.
You heard that, guys? He said I'm smart. Everyone
Hey, I
flip
don't think
that.
Craig's dumb. I don't think Craig's dumb. I don't think you're dumb. But this is why you are smart, though, right? You're talking about these moon rocks. Has Warner von Braun ever collected a moon rock here on Earth?
Has he collected a moon rock from Earth?
Yes.
No. 'Cause
So
moon rocks
nobody's
come from
ever.
the moon.
So there's no moon rocks. Nobody's ever collected a moon rock here on Earth.
By collect, do you mean that after they came to Earth, they then got it? But
Yes.
no, the moon.
So
rock-
has there been moon rocks here on Earth?
Yes, we have. brought moon
Yes,
rocks
they
back.
have moon rocks on Earth. That's right.
Because
So
we
you
brought
admit
them back from
No,
the
no,
moon.
No, in
Alex,
Antarctica.
Alex,
they-
they're a moon rock. Listen to the words you are
found-
saying.
Yes, they
Listen
found
to the
rocks
words
from
you
the
are-
moon, but we didn't have to go get them. That rocks fell from the moon here on Earth.
No, those ones are different.
Those ones are. Oh my
Right,
God!
right.
So you
Again,
admit
right,
that there are moon rocks here on
Right, I
Earth,
didn't
right?
realize that was your
See,
question.
I know,
Right,
but
right,
so
right,
we already
right.
have moon rocks here on Earth.
Right, let me explain why they're different.
Okay.
Okay, they're different because you can analyze those, and ones that have come from the moon for whatever reason and been on Earth for a long time, you can tell that they are because of the radiation and stuff that comes from the moon.
Sure.
from
I
that.
think that's
When
what
there is a moon rock
Alex
that's
was
been
about to
on the
say.
moon and
Yeah,
nowhere but the
skeptic.
moon for millennia and eons, you can analyze those and see that, well, that's clearly nothing else that exists on Earth. So this one anomaly that an astronaut made a mistake and said it was a moon rock when it wasn't. NASA never officially said it was a moon rock. You will never find a report of NASA officially saying that is a moon rock. But the ones that NASA do say is a moon rock are actually brought back.
Okay, hold on. How did I go to
Show him, Alex. Show him.
Chrome?
Seriously, that's the story. Exactly. Skeptic. Madness, isn't it?
Hold on, bear with me. I can't freaking type on Craig's computer. All right.
Yeah, exactly. If you think.
Okay.
And that's just has room
If you guys
with
can
moon
kind of
rocks
see
and
how those
petrified
are
wood
small,
together.
but you see, you guys see how there's no dust on
Oh,
there?
right, so we're changing the subject. Just
No,
to be
no,
clear.
no. I want to rebut this to
Certainly is,
everything.
blood.
So
Certainly
we
is.
rebutted that we were able to shoot a laser off the moon.
Well, you
before
never
the-
rebutted. I rebutted you, but yeah.
Well, we were able to shoot a laser off the moon before Craig said we were able to do it. Okay, now it's funny, Craig. You said that they did a Grand Prix on the moon, and you talked about the space dust, the moon dust, right? And how it was flying everywhere, right? Well, it's funny because they had I believe it was a 9,000-pound rocket, I believe.
Absolutely.
And there's not one bit of dust on that lunar lander, and that's right next
Why
to the
would there be?
rocket.
Let me ask you a question. Why after landing, Alex, would you expect dust to be on there?
I would
Explain-
expect
this
this is why
exactly
because,
why.
because this is how it lands.
Guys,
It's
you're gonna need one of these where it explains.
No, I'm saying there's a 9,000-pound rocket, and
Ready?
how it lands, it blasts power, and I guess the power gets weaker as it goes down. So this fire is causing pressure. So when you cause pressure to something, it causes it to displace. So if you had any bit of logic and you had a 9,000-pound rocket and you're landing on dirt, there would be dirt spread around. It's just common sense.
Okay, dirt spread around.
What
or-
an idiot.
You just made
You said
Alex,
space
you've
dirt.
changed your claim. You've changed your claim from
He really thinks that was funny. It's not funny at all, idiot.
changed your claim from there's no dust on there to there's no dust spread around. There was dust spread around, but the reason there is no dust on the foot of the
There's
land-
no blast
I
crater.
don't-
There's no blast
I am
crater.
so sorry that the middle of my sentence interrupted the beginning of yours. If you give me a second. So the reason there's no dust on the foot of the moonlander is because there's no disturbance in the air to push that dust back once it has been blown away. There is no atmosphere on the moon. So as the dust gets blown away from the lunar lander, there's nothing to bring it back. That is going to be the cleanest place around.
What?
So this picture's small, but you'll see there's literally nothing displaced. There's no proof that a 9,000
It's right underneath it, Alex. It's blown
There would
away
be-
from it.
There would be a blast crater of some sort.
And that's the thing. The oven mitt was part of his official match because it had FTFE on it, so it's part of his match. Mad.
Specific landing areas that were on elevated positions that were harder rock, had less regolith. But the point is, in this small image you've got here, it shows directly underneath. Once again, as the booster comes down, it's blasting all the regolith and dust away from it. So you can't see it in this picture because
It's
there's
funny,
no. Once
you
again, I'm
literally-
still in the middle of my
Sorry, go ahead,
sentence.
sorry.
It blasted all the
Dylan.
away from it with no disturbance in the atmosphere to get it back because the atmosphere does not exist on the moon, Alex.
Well, then why was that go-kart causing all of it to just fly all around?
It didn't fly all around. If you'd listened to my intro, let me go.
I listened to it. I'm just saying.
Clearly
you-
not, Alex.
You
Maybe,
said that
maybe
they were.
attempt-
You said
right,
that they
so-
were on a Jeep. That was basically a Jeep.
Right,
How
so
did they even
I
get
want
it
you
there
to
in the
look
first
at
place?
this diagram on the right. Okay, the diagram on the right, it shows two things. The two green lines, they are what you would expect on if there was dust particles on Earth. That is what physics says the parabolic trajectory of the dust particles would be on Earth. The other two lines are the trajectory if you did the calculations with a gravity of 1/6 what you would expect on Earth. Every dust particle, you look on the one on the left, it shows where the dust are going. Every single dust particle followed a parabolic trajectory that showed it was in less gravity. But there's one more thing we need to look at is here, is that
That's
they
what?
all follow that trajectory without any disturbance going out or coming back. They are being kicked up in a very specific way and coming straight back down with no turbulence, no disturbance,
Totally
nothing
into.
being swirled around like
Good
you would
to
see
see you,
when you
bro.
did it on Earth. If you watch a dirt bike on Earth kicking up dirt, it goes round the wheel, it flies up, it gets pushed like clouds. But on here, all of the dust did exactly this. It went woo, exactly, with nothing to disturb it, and in a place with less gravity that made it do exactly what we expect in a place that has 1/6 the gravity on Earth. So if this was faked, how did they do it? Because they would have had to do it on a soundstage.
How
They had to
did they
remove
do
the
it?
air and change the gravity in the soundstage.
That's not how
Many
they do it.
different ways.
First of all,
Why not?
Because you can actually watch clips of
Yeah,
it.
why not
and-
though?
and
You
they-
just, that's not how I do
no,
it. Why
because,
not?
Because they can change the speed of the video and make it look a certain
Changing
way.
the speed of a video doesn't change the fact that there's
But
no
I know, but see,
atmosphere
Craig,
and
it's-
it
it's
behaves
so
with
funny.
gravitational
I
acceleration.
think it's very funny though. You want to argue about dust, and you see that
I
obviously.
want to argue about physics,
No,
Alex.
I know, but you're well. Then why isn't there any dust on the lunar lander.
I
That's
did-
physics.
Guys, did I not just explain?
A
One
9,000 pound rocket would displace more dust than a fake Jeep, dude. And that's the sad reality that you
Right,
can't admit
is
that.
there some kind of issue you have converting short-term to long-term memory? Because I just explained that.
Yes,
to you.
No, I'm saying that when these astronauts take a step on the moon, they leave a footprint, right?
A footprint, yes.
Yeah.
not-
So
oh,
this
wrong
stuff
button.
can be displaced, and it would
What,
literally leave
what
a
do you mean?
footprint.
A footprint isn't displaced; it's compression.
Well, what I'm saying is, when you affect the surface, you're going to have dirt around. And if you
Yeah,
look
and
at
the
the
dirt
lunar
is around,
landers,
it's still there,
there's
but it's
no
moved
dirt
away.
on them. There's none. Yet that
Right.
car,
Well, right,
it
Alex,
looked
once
like
ag-
they
once
were,
again-
had a damn party in the back. Looked like exhaust or so much dirt. And somehow this 9,000 pound rocket engine was able to land without even displacing so much as leaving even a crater underneath it.
There was no crater because it landed on hard rock. And again, all of the dust was moved away. Alex, these are things I have just explained to you. It's like it's going in one side.
And what it is into, I caught the last half hour live, so and went live with it while it was live, and then I asked everybody once it finished if they wanted me to go back to the start. So we did catch it live at the end of it, but then we went back to the start.
Because what I try to do is I try to make the argument for a simple person that you don't have to have a physics degree to understand that a 9,000 pound rocket would cause dirt to move. Okay?
Well, that's
so
the
you don't need
problem.
it. You
People
don't have
with
to
a
have a
physics
physics
degree
degree.
would understand that, Alex.
No, you
People
don't.
that
No,
pass
you don't.
physics in
See,
high
that's-
school would
the-
understand that,
see,
Alex.
the
My
smug-
11-year-old
the
daughter would
smug-
understand that, Alex.
The smug and arrogance that you have, as if that you would have to know
This isn't
everything
smug
about
arrogance.
physics,
This is
physics
factual.
to understand
Factual.
that
This is
it doesn't
factual
make
stuff.
sense
Right.
that a rover causes all this dirt to go everywhere, but a
So,
9,000 pound rocket
let me explain to you.
engine
That is
doesn't.
called an argument from incredulity. He
Mm-hmm.
says it doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Therefore, it's fake. Alex, this isn't about your feelings and your lack of
No,
understanding.
no.
This is about the physics and engineering that showed we absolutely. There's overwhelming amounts of evidence that we went. But the
There's
Grand
not.
Prix is
Well,
the
why can't we
absolute
go
killer.
today?
You
Why-
need
why
to
not?
explain.
I know.
Right?
Then why can't we go
even
today,
if even
Craig?
if you say that this was slowed down, you
That
need
was
to ex-
slowed
right,
down. That's why it has a
right. Let's go with
trajectory.
that. You then need to explain why there is no turbulence in the dust. There's nothing.
You need to
show.
explain why there's no blast crater whatsoever.
I did.
Yeah,
Oh
because
my
of
lord,
physics.
guys!
You just say
Please
one
use
word.
your facepalm
You
protection.
can't just say, oh, physics. That means
I
oh,
didn't
there's no
just say
blast
physics.
crater.
I
Yeah, that's
explained it
all
to you
said, yeah.
specifically. That I gave you the mechanism for why it isn't happening, Alex.
Craig, you know that I'm right. Okay, but it's funny you talk about that.
You know that I'm right. Is that how you win arguments? You
No,
just tell
but-
yourself.
no, it's-
so when you play
you-
chess, do you just like take your trousers down and shit on the board?
No, see, Craig, the difference between you and me is I'm being intellectually honest. You're not. Because I have two examples and there's a huge difference, and you can't admit
Oh,
that there's a difference.
shut up with a
That's
horrible
sad,
giggle.
That's the sad reality. Is I show you a picture with the dust going everywhere, then I show you a blast.
That horrible, stupid, giggly giggle. What's an idiot?
It just doesn't make sense.
The
There
dust
would be
is
dust.
away from it. It
There
doesn't
would be
go
dust.
back.
Okay,
the wheels
it's-
are kicking the
and you know
dust
what's
in a
funny?
specific
We
way
could-
that
we could
stops
keep-
them.
If you have half a brain common sense, just ask yourself, why does
be
one
helpful if
image
you
have
did.
dust everywhere and why does the other one not? But listen, we
I'm
can
pretty
talk
sure I
about-
explained that
Let's
to you
talk
guys,
about other
but-
stuff. Okay, well, let's talk about what Werner von Braun said if we did get on the moon, because you talked about micrometeorites. And because there's no atmosphere on the moon, that there's tons of micrometeorites, correct?
Yes.
And Werner von Braun even said that if we got to the moon, that we'd immediately have to find a cave to go to because you would be at risk of getting killed by one of these micrometeorites. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
I've heard of that.
There's
He
a
did
few
say
things
that.
you said that weren't true. For instance,
He did.
so-
He said that they would need to go somewhere. You don't think Werner von Braun brought up micrometeorites and the threat
so
that they had to astronauts?
they didn't say
So
they
you're
have
saying
to
that?
go
Wait,
there
no, real
immediately.
quick,
Right,
because you just
let
called
me-
me a
let me
liar.
explain,
No,
let me
you just
explain.
called me a liar.
I said you got it
and-
wrong.
No. You
I
called
said
me
you
a
got
liar.
it
You
wrong.
said you called me a liar.
Okay, well,
did Werner von Braun ever talk about micrometeorites?
Yes, but
and the threat that they had to astronauts.
He never said as soon as they get to the moon, they're going to immediately have to go to a cave. Okay, what they did was they considered the impact of micrometeorites and how they might have to deal with it. One of the suggestions was that they find a moon cave because the formation of
What
the
I
moon-
just said, that's literally what I just said, and you
No,
said I'm
you
wrong.
said that they would have to immediately go there. It was just a thought of one of the things that they would do.
That's what that was a possibility. That was a thought. So I
That's
didn't
not
lie.
what you said. You just changed what you were saying.
No, I said that if Werner von Braun said the threat of micrometeorites, one of the plans was having to get
No,
to
no,
a
no, no.
cave
You said
immediately.
that as soon as they get to the moon, they'd immediately have to go.
That
to
was
a cave.
one of the potential plans that they were, and you admit
one
that
of
they thought.
Right, here's the thing. When you
Just
plan,
saying, so-
Alex, when you plan something like the moon landing, you have to consider so many things. And
Yeah.
one of the things they considered was, well, maybe it would be sensible if we looked for some kind of cave or something. But they then found out that wasn't really necessary. They picked specific spots. They made sure that they had protections. They made sure the minimum time doing the EVAs. All these things were kind of accounted for in advance. You're not understanding the fact that.
No, I understand.
Hey, Dr. Bro, it's good to see you, bro.
Look in advance as to problems that could happen and maybe come up with ways to fix them. Doesn't change what actually happened when they went to the moon landings. One thing you said that I really want to touch on in your intro.
Please.
You said that Russia went to the moon first and got samples. Who the told you that?
That's true.
No, it's not.
Russia went to the moon first.
No, they did not.
Yes, they
Russia
did.
never went to the. Russia went to, right. Here's the thing. Russia absolutely destroyed America in the space race up until the moon landing. They were the first people to put a satellite in orbit. First to put a person in orbit. First an animal in orbit. But the first people
Didn't
to
put
go
anything in
to the
orbit.
moon and go on its surface with anything was the Americans. The Russians did not go and get a moon sample and bring it back. I don't know who told you that.
No, it says it right here. Soviet Union's Luna 16 spacecraft was the first robotic mission to return lunar soil to
The
Earth.
first robotic mission.
That's what I
that
said.
wasn't before the Apollo missions, though. It was just.
Yes, it was.
Do you think they had
Yes, it
robotic
was.
missions in the 1969, Alex?
Well, they were the first.
Which
person
kind
to
of
do it.
robots were you?
They were in 1970. In 1970, they were the first people to do it.
Have you watched Back to the Navigator? The
me
robot in
see.
that, the thing that, hello, little boy.
Hold on, hold
that was
on,
the
hold
robots.
on.
They not even that time.
Hold
What
on.
the actual?
Well, I don't believe they did either. First of all, that's why I don't know all the information about the Russia. But I'm just.
It was called Flight of the Navigator.
Did some fake stuff too. So
Not
that's
what
why
he
they don't
said.
tell on each other.
Everything's fake.
Not everything is fake. Well,
Alex,
it's
before you
funny
go to
because
bed
you
at
called
night-
me a science denier, yet you're the one that's defending a person that killed a bunch of Jewish people. So
I'm not defending.
yes, you
I'm not
are.
once. Right. Here's the thing. Only you.
Was
brought up that.
was the
I
Holocaust
do not
bad? Was the Holocaust bad?
Of course it was. But
So,
that
do
doesn't,
you agree?
that
With,
doesn't
do you agree
change
with
the fact.
Operation Paperclip?
I don't agree with anything that the Nazis
Do you
ever
think-
did.
I know,
I
so-
don't.
so-
I
so
do not
do you
care.
think it's
about
okay,
Operation
though?
Paperclip. I care about whether we went to the moon or not.
I know,
The
dude,
fact
how
that
about
Warner
this,
von
Craig?
Braun.
Has a
Right, hold on,
Nazi ever
Alex. Hold
lied?
on, hold
Do
on,
Nazis
hold
lie?
on. The fact that Warner von Braun came from Nazi Germany does not change the fact that humanity went to the moon. Even if he was an absolute monster that murdered children in their sleep, it would not change the fact that we went to the moon. So it's
He's
irrelevant.
defending a murderer. You guys are clapping. He's defending a murderer.
I'm not defending
yeah.
a murderer.
Yeah,
I
you're
literally
clapping
just
for
said-
a murder. You're clapping
I
for a
lit-
murder. Hey, literally, this is how.
Ladies and gentlemen, you were here. I literally just said. Alex, one sec.
He's
Right,
defending
I
a
want to
murderer.
clarify here.
Well, you know,
I-
Werner
I-
von Braun
let-
did murder people during the
Yeah,
Holocaust.
I want to be clear because Alex has said something that wasn't true. He said that I'm defending a murderer. No, I specifically said even if he was a monster and murdered
He was a
children,
monster
right?
and
But
did
I
his
specifically
bombs.
said even if he was a monster and murdered children, it wouldn't matter in the fact that we went to the moon. But it would matter that I wouldn't like what he did. I would never agree with someone being an evil person, but it doesn't change the fact that the technology from him allowed us to go to the
Why not? You're an atheist. You have no morals.
Nazi. Doesn't stop what actually happened, Alex.
Well, I think it does, but it's funny because you talk.
I
about,
think
you talk about
you
this
think
technology.
saying a thing stops it.
Well, we're talking about the technology. The rockets, these Apollo rockets, right? What were they originally intended for? I said it in my opening statement. They were weapons, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
war breeds
so I'm
technology.
just
it's a
saying.
fact.
So this guy, Werner von Braun, and you're an English vet. Is that?
I am, who just said that, chilling. Yeah, I caught the end of it live. So I came live. We caught the end of it live, like half an hour or so of it. So the vote was, let's go back into the beginning and do it to where I got to.
That we went to
Not
the moon,
once have I defended
allegedly.
Alex.
Yeah.
Can you please show
Well,
me the point in this that I defended him, or did I specifically said that I
You
reject
said you don't
anything
care
that
if he's a murderer.
No,
all that matters is we
no.
went to the
I
moon,
said it
so.
doesn't matter in relation to the fact that we went to the moon.
Well,
right?
do
He could be actually Satan, and he could rip people apart limb by limb.
You'd
It
probably
wouldn't
worship
change
him. You'd probably
the
worship
physical
him then.
fact that we went to our
Yeah.
only natural satellite. It doesn't like he right. He was a Nazi, okay? He did bad things. I agree. That's disgusting. Everything the Nazis stand for, it repulses me. I hold the position, see a Nazi, punch a Nazi. I
Right.
do not like Nazis. It doesn't change the fact that the technological advances that
This is where we came in at. So this is where I go out at. Yeah, this is where it started the live because I remember him saying about seeing Nazi, punching Nazi. So I'll just let him finish off what he was saying just to get off, just to round it off sort of thing. Oh, I paused it, idiot. Meant to just mute it. Paused it. There we go.
came from the V2 rocket exist. So yes, I agree with you, Alex.
So they-
the
so-
Holocaust
so-
was a horrible.
I know,
Hold on, let me
so-
finish. The Holocaust was a horrible thing. I agree with you. Nazis were evil. I agree with you. Does not change reality.
Well, I think it does, because if you look at Nazis, do Nazis lie? Did Nazis lie, Craig?
I'm sure Nazis lie. Yes. I'm sure when Nazis were fighting the war, they told many mistruths, as did the American military, as did the British
so
military.
you admit that the American military lies?
That's how you do warfare. You lie
There
to
we
everybody
go.
else.
See, right now we're making headway. So he admits that the government
Do you-
will
do you-
lie.
well, let me explain what I'm
Hey,
talking
wait,
about
you do
specifically.
you
Let-
agree
hold
real
on,
quick
hold
that
on.
NASA is a
Let-
military wing of the American government?
No, it's not. Let me explain
Uh,
to you.
it
Let me explain to you.
Even though it was
Alex,
started
right,
on
so
military tech.
Here's how the American military lied, one specific way.
Why are all astronauts ex-military?
Hey, New Moon, good to see you. I'm just about to finish. I started this off live, but I caught at the end of it, and then the vote was go back to the start. So we've caught up to where we were. So I'm just letting him finish. Hopefully, got to say it, and I've got to end it. I'm going to play out with DJ Moon's track.
Not that's
well,
false.
that used to be, not anymore. You're right. But
right,
that
so,
used to be. They
right,
were
let me-
all
let me be
military.
clear, right, the American military, what they did, they lied to their enemies because they were getting bombed. So they made fields of wooden planes to lie to their enemies. Lying is part of warfare. Simple as that.
It's a part of government too. Would you agree on that?
All right, gentlemen, just to let you know, in 10 minutes, we're going to go to Q&A. Alex,
Yeah,
you got your
so-
4 rebuttals right there.
I'll leave it there. This is definitely where I came in like 5 minutes before this, so I'll leave it there, guys. That's the whole debate, but kind of backwards. The end of it's at the start, and the start of it's at the end. 30 minutes, Alex Muffin in the city. There you go. But Flats is covering this. I mean, I wasn't covering it. I just showing it live, so you could come and chill in the chat. I never reviewed it. It's just showing it live. So Flats will be reviewing this tonight. So I'll put the link in for Flats. Well, in about a couple hours. I'd say a couple hours. So yeah, you bugger. Yeah. Right. So that's Flats' link. Where we'll be covering it tonight. There you go. Like I say, I was same as yesterday. Flats reviewed it after I covered it, sort of thing. I just showed it live so people could come and chill and chat. There you go. But there's it. So that's full debate. Bit ass backwards, like Dr. Bass backwards. There you go. Bit ass backwards, but it's only because I was like, because I streamed for 10 hours last night. I fell asleep during one of the movies for an hour, woke up and continued with it, and then I ended up doing some boxing matches. So I ended up streaming 10 hours all in all. We watched we did a topic on YouTube. And then we watched 2 movies on Rumble where I fell asleep for an hour. But then I come back, I woke up and put it back to where it stopped at. And then we continued, me and Roger was in chat in here for a while, and we continued to watch boxing. So I ended up streaming for 10 hours, not on YouTube. It's only an hour odd on YouTube, but on the Rumble side, 10 hours on the Rumble side. Crazy. So from now on, when I do movie nights, I'm going to have to make sure I get sleep first. Because I've been falling asleep lately. And that's only because I don't sleep much. You know, so when I'm streaming long streams, I end up bloody falling asleep. It was all fun, though. It was all fun. So I'm going to play DG Moon's track and then finish it, guys. But thanks for being here. Bless yous. Bless yous. DG New Moon's track. Love it. Love it. It's part of my intro now and again. I don't do it every day as my intro, but it's part of my intro. Love it. Love it.
Find
All right, DJ Moon, and then he's in the house as well. Excellent. DJ, we love it, man. Cyclone Killer just made you mod as well, but oh yeah, you see it. Yeah, we caught Cyclone. I did yesterday's full live, but because I did a 10-hour stream on Rumble, YouTube, then Rumble last night, I didn't catch the start of it, caught the end, so I just thought I'll go live now, see if the guys turned up, and everybody wanted to go back to the start after it ended, so we went back to the start. But yeah, cool, man, cool. But that's it. I'll see you guys in Flats'. I'll put Flats' link in because he's reviewing it. Like I said, I just showed it, but Flats, same as yesterday, when we're on there, we'll actually review it. You know, because I like sitting chilling, you guys watching it. I can't say much. I can't really review it while we're watching it live, you know. So I just show it, sort of thing. I say a few things, but there you go. Bless, guys. Thanks for being with us. Love you. See you on Flats. If not, I'll see you tomorrow because I'll be on Monday. It's my day off usually, but Flats is, I usually do Tuesday night to cover for Flats, but Flats is doing something, so we're changing days just for this week. So I'll be on tomorrow, and then Tuesday will be my day off of streaming. I'll still be on Flats', but for me streaming. So I'll take Tuesday off this week. Yes, so I'll be streaming Tomorrow night. So it's actually movie night tomorrow night. It's just, and I've already just done one because it's usually Tuesday. So I'll do a topic for YouTube. We'll get a topic sorted, and then we need a movie. We need a movie for the Rumble side tomorrow. I think, shall we go back to doing a couple of Alfred Hitchcock? Baza, what do you reckon? On tomorrow night, shall we do a bit of Alfred Hitchcock again? We've already done 2 movies in Alfred Hitchcock. Do you think we should do another 2? Or do we do a comedy night? Airplane 2 and whatever. I'm asking Baza if he's still here. Just because he's always there. Your game with Hitchcock. What about everybody else? I think everybody else would be cool with it. But if you're not, let me know a bit. So far, yeah, I think we should go for Hitchcock tomorrow night. Yeah. Or comedy. I think we should go for Hitchcock. Yeah, Hitchcock. Well, why don't we do one Hitchcock and one comedy? We'll do a Hitchcock movie and then we'll do Airplane 2. Yeah, sorted. So I just need a topic. Bless you guys. Love yous. I'll see you on Flaxes. Here the Sunset's free. It's free. Indeed. Ta-da.